Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to Home Brewhaha. Sorry we took some time off because I was sick and then also no lifing Elden Ring like I've never played a game before in my life. It's very good.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Yeah. So here's what it is. Uh, so, welcome to Home Brewhaha. It's where we, talk about D&D 5th edition homebrew stuff. I'm doing something a little bit different. Is we're not actually talking about a bunch of homebrew stuff today, as blasphemous as that may seem. We're going to talk about what's in the books, so next week we can bring you our very own homebrews that aren't in the books. But to know what's homebrew, you have to know what's in the book, or else you're just potentially overlapping, and, then you look like a rube. We can't have that.
Yeah, that would be totally unacceptable.
Yeah. So we're going to be looking at Barbarians today. Like this man. I'm sorry for my slightly blurry quality on my totally legitimate PDF here. I'm going to have to get some more totally legitimate versions this weekend.
Looks okay to me, to be honest.
Does it?
Stream. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Though to be fair, your stream seems exceptionally high quality to me today, for some reason.
Well, I'm exceptionally high quality today.
Yeah, you're crystal clear. Your face is like 4K.
I accidentally screwed up a bunch of my settings and had to redo them hastily, so I think I made it better.
Yeah, looks great.
I don't know what I did, man. 8K. I'm too many Ks. I'm more Ks than your body has room for.
Yeah. I can see your bones.
Yeah, they do that from time to time. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about Barbarians. We're going to talk about what they do, what they don't do, what we want them to do. And we'll just do kind of an overview of a bunch of the subclasses, and what they already have. So one thing I can point out pretty quickly from... well, let me hopefully go to the next page here. Okay, there we go. One thing we can point out pretty quickly about Barbarians as far as their subclasses go is they only have, let's see, path feature at, primal path at 3, feature at 6, feature at 10, and feature at 14. So there are only 4 spots where you can make a change by adding a subclass. Now, admittedly, those, you can make pretty dramatic changes, but that means for 16 levels, a barbarian is a barbarian. And then for 4 of those levels, you get to add a tweak to it. So we'll see what tweaks Wizards added and some things we want to do. But before that, let's go over the basic kind of class features. I guess we should get in. What's a barbarian? Logan, do you want to take us into an explanation about the rich lore of what a barbarian is?
Yeah, sure. They are melee fighters, classically. They rage is sort of their main feature, in D&D at least. I think sort of more overarching in other fantasy genres. Barbarians are the classic dive into battle. They're a whirlwind of teeth and fingernails, and they rip into their opponents with overwhelming strength and fervor. And they're normally big, beefy figures that are intimidating to behold.
I
yeah,
was
that feels
just going for they get mad and they hit stuff with a big weapon most of the time. But your thing was much more in depth. Yeah, typically they don't. I will say stereotypically they do not have a lot of magic or special abilities or finesse going for them. They get mad and then they hit stuff real hard until it dies, and in return you hit them real hard and they don't die. That's kind of what they shoot for and what you're shooting for as a barbarian.
I would classify them as almost as close as you can get to a tank in D&D.
In fact, they there's an ability, one of the actually there's like 3 different subclasses that get abilities that make 2 of them make your character incredibly hard to kill to the point of absurdity, and one makes you actually one of the only abilities in the game, to my knowledge, that lets you protect your allies. Is a tank, so they are tanky boys. They also have that D12 health die, which is the highest in the game. No other character even has that. Even fighters only go to a D10.
Pretty huge.
So they get the most health points, or HP as the kids call it.
HPs.
They are proficient in light and medium armor and shields. They almost never will use light or medium armor unless you get some cool enchanted stuff. So if you do get like enchanted armor, they have a chance to use it, which is nice. But most barbarians are probably going to be fighting sans armor
Because of a class feature that they have.
Yes. They get their bonuses in strength and constitution saves, which are good. Strength saves aren't very good. They're very not used very often, except for like getting knocked down or knocked away by most things. And constitution's good for, poison. They don't get natural resistance or immunity to poison like some classes, so the constitution saves are good. And they get some skills: animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, survival. A bunch of outdoorsy stuff. As they are the great outdoorsmen.
On theme.
Alright, so then look over the rage mechanic here. I'm sorry, I'm going to look down and read from my book because this is kind of blurry for me on the screen, and I apologize for that once again. But basically, as a bonus action, they can enter a rage state as long as they're not wearing heavy armor. They're not proficient in heavy armor, so you wouldn't be wearing it anyway, but you can't be raging while you're in heavy armor. I guess you can't be mad if your clothes are too big. So what's rage do? They get advantage on strength checks and saves, which also includes like their checks to grapple things. So they, get advantage on just all those checks across the board. When they make a melee weapon attack using strength, meaning not using a finesse weapon, which why would you put a finesse weapon on a barbarian? You wouldn't.
Doesn't make sense.
They get to add their rage damage bonus to it, which if you go back to this other page, this far right column shows at what level they deal what extra damage when they're raging. So level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, geez, for quite a while. Up until level 8, they deal 2 extra damage per attack while raging, then 3, then 4.
Damn.
Which isn't
surprisingly little
much.
Actually.
Because rogues gain sneak attack damage way faster than that.
Yeah.
Of course, they can only do that once a turn.
That's true. Only once a turn, and they never get multi-attack, do they?
They don't naturally, but they don't really benefit from it because they're using a finesse weapon. They're doing like a D4 plus dex damage. So they get a little extra damage on each attack, so that's something. But primarily, in the big deal, they have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage outright. Not negated by the weapon being magical or adamantine, silver, whatever. They flat out just get resistance to that damage, which essentially, against non-magical foes, doubles your health, which is already the highest in the game.
Pretty huge.
So while you're raging, no, rage lasts for 1 minute, but it ends early if you're knocked unconscious, or you haven't attacked a hostile creature since your last turn. Really? That's attack? I thought it was if you took damage you maintained your rage. Or taking damage. I'm sorry. Trying to read the one on screen is a little more difficult. Yeah, so if they take damage, take an attack at a hostile enemy, they have to do that to maintain rage. So they have to actively be in combat, essentially, and they only
just passive rage.
Yeah, they only get so many rages a day. Starting 2 rages at level 1. All the way up to unlimited rages at level 20, but before that it's goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, for 4 levels apiece or something like that.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see what else barbarians get at level 20, because jumping from 6 rages a day at 19 to unlimited sounds cool, but I think in practice is like essentially
Yeah,
would
well,
never
here's
come up.
essentially your barbarian will probably want to use one rage per encounter, so it depends on how many encounters a day you're running.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, as Bib says, barbarians are always angry. Well, yes, but sometimes they get really, really angry, and they can only do that so many times a day, apparently.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but you're probably, as a barbarian, going to want to rage per encounter, and depending on how your DM runs it, 6 rages a day might be complete overkill.
Yeah. Because I would say in our campaigns, we rarely have situations in which we're having more than one combat per day.
Yeah, typically I like to do one big monumental combat, or maybe a couple leading up to it, and not do the like dungeon crawl combat after combat kind of thing. And that's just, our group is so large that doing multiple combats like that is just draining my resources as a human being more than it's draining your resources as a player.
Yeah, it's just for our group size, any combat at all takes minimum an hour. Like that's if you have like one opponent that is a medium challenge.
Yeah. Also, our group is very easy to sidetrack and get on other things, and we're just we play very casually. we're not the hardcore crew. But so tailor that to your kind of group size. They get unarmored defense naturally, which is super cool. When not wearing any armor, their armor class is 10 plus your dexterity, which is the same as anybody gets. But then you also add your constitution modifier to that. So as a barbarian, you're probably going to have pretty high constitution for those HPs. So adding extra armor class, which means if you have 20 dex, which as a barbarian you probably won't, and 20 con, your natural armor becomes 20. And you can wield the shield for 22. I'd say starting, if you were like, say you chose 16, 16, 16, 8, 8, 8 for your stats, just drop your mental stats to garbage and get all your physical stats buff. That's 16, 18 with a shield, butt naked, 16 armor class. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's not so good that you couldn't benefit from putting on some armor at some point, depending on your dexterity modifier. So you have that option. It is good. Like, also you're not crippled if you're caught without your armor, like a bunch of classes are. So that's nice.
Right.
Reckless attacks. Starting at level 2, you can essentially, when you make your first attack on a turn, you can be like, I'm doing it reckless. And then you get advantage on all your attacks. But then every melee weapon attack against you also gets advantage. Yeah, that makes a point. The extra armor class probably comes with the aversion of fighting a giant, angry, naked person.
Yeah.
The constitution modifier is actually just like how much you're waving your junk when you're fighting at them, and they're like, the more that is, the less they want to fight you.
I mean, I think we've all seen that video where the guy's getting into a fight and just immediately strips naked, and then the person who was wanting to fight him before no longer wants to fight him.
Yeah, no, this is a different thing now, and I don't want to be a part of it.
Yep. It's like, I thought we were just going to have words and maybe throw some hands, and now you're throwing other stuff around, and I'm not really interested in it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave.
That's fair. So... Oh yeah, also it only gives you advantage on melee weapon attacks using strength. Once again, it specifically denies finesse users, which is weird, but like it seems unnecessary to say no, you can't make a dex-based barbarian.
Yeah.
Maybe we could make a subclass around that. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm curious why it's so why they're so opposed to it, because very rarely do they explicitly forbid things like that, or where they're so specific that it excludes things.
Yeah, I think a dex-based barbarian, if it didn't exclude it, would just be better than a strength-based barbarian because the bonus to your armor class.
I guess, yeah, but I mean,
but also there aren't any dex-based,
right?
Yeah, but there aren't any dex-based. The highest dex-based weapon is 1d8 with a rapier.
Yeah.
So you're not doing a d12 or 2d6 with it. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's true.
Yeah. Maybe there's something in the class that I'm forgetting about that we'll see later that makes it super broken, but there's nothing I can think of that would make deck so good that you just have to exclude it.
Yeah. So yeah, but back to reckless attack. Sorry, I drifted off. You choose to make reckless attack. You make all your attacks with advantage. Then every attack against you is made with advantage. And here's the thing that's worse about that than it even seems. One, you're probably going to be resistant to most of the damage, but it's any attack roll against you has advantage, which means spell attacks. It means any dexterity-based attacks, which you don't get to do, have advantage, which means anything that gets sneak attack just gets the sneak attack on you regardless. You open yourself up a lot for the getting advantage on an attacks, which isn't that difficult to do in most situations.
Yeah.
Right here, if I just drop a little bit of homebrewing, I would say reckless attack should only apply for whatever target you're making your attacks at. You at each other should be attacking recklessly, and it shouldn't let other people get in on you. Also, if you're using flanking rules, it's irrelevant anyway, because the other person's just going to be behind you, and they're going to have flanking. We don't use flanking, because like I said, there are too many of us. There'd be advantage all the time.
There's too damn many people.
I think flanking is like, if you have a party of 3 people, use flanking. Aside from that, it's kind of overpowered. Or superfluous.
Because it does encourage tactical thinking during combat, but you don't really have to think tactically when you just have 7 bodies in a room.
Yeah, we all get flanking because
probably have advantage.
We surround this guy and just start stomping on him, and then we move on to the next guy. Everyone gets advantage.
So tactically minded.
Yeah. So they also get danger sense, which is really, really good, especially at level 2. If they can see something that causes them to make a dexterity saving throw, they have advantage on it. To gain this benefit, you can't be blinded, deafened, or incapacitated, but you don't have to be able to hear it only to see it. So I don't know why deafened is in there.
Yeah, it doesn't really make
because
sense.
If someone attacks you from behind and you couldn't see it, you don't get the save. But if something is heading right at your face, but you're deaf, you also don't get the save.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I would say either add, if they hear it, they have advantage on it too, or take away the deafened thing there.
Yeah.
Because it kind of contradicts itself. But that's just me personally. And then at 3rd level, you pick your primal path, which is your subclass. You get your ability score improvements at 8, 12, 16, and 19. Yeah. You guys know what ability score improvements are. You improve your ability score or take a feat. At 5th level, you get an extra attack. So when you make the attack action, you get 2 attacks instead of 1 attack. Pretty simple. You also get an extra 10 foot of movement while you aren't wearing heavy armor. It specifies a lot of these while not wearing heavy armor, but you don't have heavy armor proficiency. So why would you ever be wearing heavy armor?
You can take heavy armor proficiency, right? Like that's
you could take a feat
to
take it, I guess. I mean, you could go out of your way to take it to hinder yourself in other ways, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't do that. 7th level, you have advantage on initiative rolls, and if you're surprised, you can act normally as long as you rage first.
Oh.
So that's really, really good. Somebody catches your group by surprise, like you guys are sleeping, they sneak up on you in camp, they make a noise that wakes you up. You, 1, are naked, doesn't matter, as far as your armor class goes. 2, you immediately just get angry, which is probably going to wake up the rest of your party.
Too angry to be surprised.
And then you just start swinging.
Gotta love it.
Yeah,
Gotta
so,
love it.
You know, you have a barbarian watchdog you just keep with your party. And that's pretty great. Brutal critical, I have a problem with. For something that like stacks like it is just kind of lackluster. It's better in the way we run criticals, where you just add the maximum number of the damage, but as written, I think brutal critical is rather weak. At 9th level, you can roll an additional weapon damage die to determine the damage for a critical hit. 2 die at 13, 3 die at 17. Meaning, at 17th level, your critical hit will be, let's say you're using a great axe, the highest damage die will be the one for the regular damage, then one for it being critical, then 3 more for it being brutal critical. So 5d12 plus your strength modifier on a natural 20. That's not bad. That being said, at level 17th, your wizard has disintegrated 6 people at will.
Yeah.
And you
A little underwhelming.
while you're waiting for that one big thing. So I might maybe make brutal critical expand their critical range, or add an additional effect when they crit, like a bleed or something like that. Because just throwing an extra weapon dice at them isn't that great. You have a 5% chance, assuming flat damage roll or flat dice rolls, of doing an extra 1 hit of damage. Not even. Less than that, because you don't get to add your strength modifier to it. So.
And it's really that encourages you using a battle axe, because if you're using like a great sword, 1 additional weapon damage die would be a d6.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think that's how that's actually ruled. Personally, I would let them use 2d6 on it, just because.
I probably would too, just because. Yeah,
otherwise, it's kind of weird. But yeah, I think that is how rules is written. Is that the damage die? It would be 1d6 on it. So that, woohoo.
Ooh.
At the same note, if your rogue crits, say this again. If your rogue crits at level 17, how many more dice is he rolling?
Yeah, because you roll.
Because you'll double your sneak attack dice. So let me just flip over and see how many sneak attack dice rogue get at level 17, just to compare.
They get 96.
Yeah. So 3d12 versus 96.
Yeah.
I
Plus the weapon. Of
Yeah.
The rogue too. Like that's not even. Yeah.
So like, brutal critical feels pretty underwhelming, considering sneak attack is a thing that's much easier to get consistently. I think brutal critical needs some fluffing up. That being said, that's if you want to play a sheer like damage smashy class, play a fighter. Don't play a barbarian. Barbarians are in it for being tank boys.
Yeah, that's true. Because the biggest thing that I think fighters have over barbarians is the multi-attack. Like because eventually they get to attack like 4, 5 times. I don't know, in a turn.
Yeah, a fighter's just going to deal more
Pretty
damage.
huge.
That being said, a barbarian is just going to take several fighters' health pools worth of damage a fight.
Yeah. They do different things.
Yeah. Looking at a barbarian, you'd be like, this is what is going to be my damage guy, and the guy clad in armor is going to be my tanky guy, and that's not how it works. Armor class is way less important than just raw HP. Relentless Rage at level 11. You can keep fighting despite grievous wounds. If you drop to 0 hit points while raging and don't die outright, you can make a DC 10 con save. If you succeed, you drop to 1 hit point instead. And then the DC increases by 5 until you finish a long or short rest, and you can keep doing that. So at level 11, with proficiency in con saves, you have
We're assuming you have max con as well.
Yeah, so if we assume you have max con and plus 4 proficiency, you cannot fail that first save, because a 1 would put you at 10. So just get an extra, and if you're half orc, you get an extra one of these. So you just become really, really hard to knock down. That's great. If an attack doesn't kill you outright, like if some attacks say, if this reduces you to 0 hit points, you die.
Right. Power word kill is still a thing.
Power word kill, or if it reduces you to half your max HP in the negatives, which if an attack hits you like that at level 11, oof, that's
shouldn't
rough.
Be doing that fight.
No.
I do love this trait though, especially because it doesn't have any like you're up for a round, which I think there's some stuff where it's like you can
continue on.
I think there's an ability somewhere where it's like, yeah, you get to do it You get to stay up for a round fighting.
Oh, I think
or,
that's like
whatever.
the samurai or the cavalier, one of the fighter
Yeah.
abilities.
I think it's the samurai thing.
Yeah, samurai get to immediately take their turn and then fucking pass out.
Yeah. Which is really cool. But this is like, no, actually, you didn't kill me. Fuck you.
No.
Plus,
You didn't
it's like, if, especially at higher levels, when you have a high max health pool, even if you get hit again for a lot, they have to hit you for like, I mean, I don't know what their health would be at level 11, but I'm guessing it's like 70-ish, 80. I don't know.
80, at least 80 something.
Yeah. So like it's unlikely you're getting hit for that much in one hit to like outright kill you. And yeah, you probably are taking 2 rounds at least before you get knocked unconscious even.
Yeah.
Which is huge for the action economy.
With a Constitution modifier of +0, you have 82 health at level 11. 12 health for level 1, and then taking fixed health values, 70 health for the next, 10 levels.
Nice.
So, you got some HPs. So that is really great.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be dealing as much damage as a lot of your guys, but you are going to be a problem for some people, and they're going to have to deal with you, and they can't really in a lot of ways. Persistent Rage, beginning at 15th level, your rage is so fierce that it ends early only if you fall unconscious or choose to end it, so you don't have to take damage or make an attack. You can keep being angry.
Very nice.
That's okay. I mean, there aren't a lot of situations where that's really applicable.
Especially because if you're clever, you can damage yourself.
Even if you're not clever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can punch yourself in the face to keep your rage going if you were unable to attack somebody in a turn and you didn't take damage.
Yeah, absolutely. There are ways to take damage in this game, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And then 18, if your strength check, Indomitable Might, it's level 18. If your strength total on a strength check is God, English is hard, guys. Have you ever tried it? It's real difficult.
Never heard of it.
If you make a strength check and the total is less than your strength score, you can just use your strength score. It's kind of like Rogue's reliable talent. In a way, it's like, I can't be less strong than this. My strength is 20. I cannot do a strength that is less than 20 strong. I can only be more strong. I can never be less strong than this.
I am very strong.
Yeah.
I am the strong. My name is Strong.
Which is really cool. I think level 18 is really, really late in the game to get that.
Yeah, like way late, actually.
I think that should be like your level... Maybe level 9 where Brutal Critical was. Maybe even earlier. But that means your grapple checks, which will be strength checks for you, will always be, at level 18 minimum 20. Which, I mean, that's good. Huh. This is for strength check. Would that mean like strength athletics?
Yeah, because
so if you were to make an athletics check and the result would be less than 20, because that's even worse. Because if you're adding proficiency to it, your chances of being less than your strength score are very low.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have proficiency at level 18, what is it?
Proficiency at level 18 is plus 6.
Plus 6?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're plus. I mean, you're plus probably 11, right?
Yeah.
So.
Here's the thing.
You reasonably could be lower. I mean, you
makes
will
that,
go lower than that.
In that one situation, exactly reliable talent for the rogue, but for this one skill under this one exact situation.
Yeah.
It's not very good. It needs for level 18. It needs something else.
When do rogues get reliable talent?
11.
Like, oh, okay, yeah. So way earlier. Granted, it doesn't even make sense because reliable talent is a much better ability.
Yeah, reliable talent is amazing.
Because that's reliable talent just treats your roll as if you rolled a 10, right? It's not. Oh, okay, and this is you just get a 20.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And this doesn't make the roll a 20. This makes the
Yeah.
result of the check
Yeah.
a 20.
Yeah.
After,
so
like,
yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, that's seems not well thought out. So once again, if I were doing this, I would give Barbarians a little more love as far as this goes. A lot of their power lies in the subclasses, but I think Raw as Barbarians need a little bit of love. All right, let's get into some of these subclasses now. Primal Paths.
Did we skip to?
What did I skip?
Oh,
I skipped their capstone. I'm sorry. It's real boring. Primal Champion. You get a +4 strength and +4 constitution, and the cap for these scores now becomes 24. Okay.
It is boring, but I mean...
It's boring, but like
that.
it's statistically good. You have an extra +2 to hit. You have an extra +2 armor class. You have an extra +2 damage. Huzzah!
Pretty sure, yeah, hit points by...
Also,
what,
that makes your level 18 even worse. Because now the extra... Or no, I guess it makes it better because your strength... Now you have a 24 minimum
24.
on strength checks, I guess. Actually, it makes it exactly the same because you'd add that number. So, I mean...
It would have been... Yeah, I mean, it would have been +2 to the ability. Yeah.
I mean, it's whatever.
Indomitable Might is not great. No. This is good, numbers game.
I want my capstone for Barbarian to be huge, cool Barbarian thing, not add number. Add number is a wizard thing. You're a Barbarian. You want to do more than add number.
Yeah, I compare everything to the Druid level 20, and from my perspective, I play Circle of the Moon Druid, which is the wild shape one, and the level 20 capstone for a Druid is unlimited wild shaping. Which essentially means
Barbarians do get unlimited rage at
points.
level 20. So you can rage.
Yeah, but like,
forever.
how often do you need to rage? Like
that's the thing. Once you have unlimited rage, you can rage every second of every day.
Yeah, like you can always be raging, which is great. But how often do you need to be raging? Like,
I don't know.
You don't drop in and out of rage unless you get unconscious, right? So like, that's fine. Whereas a wild shape druid, they're like, hey, I'm a fucking earth elemental. Oh, you killed it? I'm it again. Next turn. Same thing. Over and over and over again.
Yeah, most capstones don't really have... Like, I've been playing some Pathfinder, and there's a Pathfinder capstone for several classes actually have something similar to it, where like, if they land an attack on this thing, the first attack they land on it in combat, it has to make a fortitude save or die.
Yeah.
Or it just dies. It's like, oh shit, that's a good capstone.
Yeah.
There's a capstone for the alchemist that you can make like potions or mutagens to change your stats and stuff. It gives you +8 to 3 stats. That's pretty good for the duration of using it. Like, +8 to 3 stats is really good compared to +4 for 2 stats. Admittedly that it's Pathfinder, it's a different system, but like doing that feels good. Having an extra +2 to hit and damage does not feel like... Congratulations, you're level 20. Here's a +2 sword.
Yeah. Less exciting.
Yeah. But let's get into some of these primal paths, because this is where some of the real juicy stuff is. Not this first one, though. This first one is possibly the worst one. Path of the Berserker. What do they do? Well, Berserkers are just like Barbarian, but more, because more mad and more angry. They're just default Barbarian, essentially, as far as I'm concerned. So, at 3rd level, when you go into a rage, you can choose to go into a Frenzied Rage. When you do, you can make a melee attack. A single melee attack is a bonus action on each of your turns. When your rage ends, you suffer a level of exhaustion. What? You have to expend your bonus action, which for Barbarians you probably don't have a lot else doing aside raging, to make a single attack, and at the end of it, which is 1 minute regardless, you suffer a level of exhaustion for the day.
Yeah. So if you do that every fight,
you're killing yourself.
Yikes.
For what? For one extra weapon attack? You know, if you just have an extra weapon in your offhand in 2-weapon fight, you get that extra attack as a bonus action. You can't add your modifier to it, but you still just get the extra attack without exhaustion. That's bad.
Yeah.
That's
It's not
like,
great.
it's one of the only ones I can, like, subclass abilities I can think of that has downside. Like, if it had no downside, it wouldn't be great. But extra attack with a downside is just bad.
Yeah.
I can't really think of a redeeming quality for that.
Don't love it.
Uh,
Love it.
Mindless Rage is actually great, though. Being at 6th level, you can't be charmed or frightened while raging, and if you are charmed and frightened when you enter your rage, the effect is suspended for the duration.
How to end it? Suspended.
Suspended, which, you know...
Suspended.
But here's the thing. Usually you've killed the thing that's charming or frightening you by then, in which case it's not a problem. What I love about
Usually,
this is...
but not always.
What I love about this is someone charms your Fury Barbarian, and they're like, attack your friends. And he's like, okay, well, if I'm going to attack my friends, I want to do it to the best of my ability, which means I'm going to rage, and now I'm not charmed anymore.
Yeah.
What path was Grog? Grog was Path of the Berserker. Yep. Yep. But that's cool. The ability to enter your rage and shrug off charming effects completely, or if you are charmed, entering a rage to get rid of that is huge. It doesn't come up often, but when it does come up, you're like, man, immunity to charm is really, really good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So I like that quite a bit. And fear, you know, frightened is bad. Most of those saves are going to be like wisdom saves, which for your barbarian probably aren't great. So the ability to shake that off is good. But you can also negate a lot of frightened's effects by just reckless attacking. Yeah, so he was Grog was the worst barbarian subclass, yes. Intimidating Presence. At 10th level, you can use your action to frighten someone with your menacing presence. If you do, choose a creature you can see within 30 feet. It has to be able to see or hear you. It has to succeed a wisdom save, which is 8 plus proficiency plus charisma modifier, or be frightened until the end of your next turn. You can use your action to extend the frighten. And if the effect ends if the creature is more than 60 feet away from you, and it can't be effective for more than 24 hours. If one of my players wanted to intimidate a creature, I would just let them try to do this. I wouldn't make it an ability. Yeah, like, if my barbarian at any level is like, I want to threaten them. Like, okay, you're a big, buff, scary barbarian man. Be threatening, and it will frighten them. That's just how it works. Why is there an ability for this?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to holler real quick. It just seems like something your character should already be able to do, and adding your charisma modifier to the DC is... Why? Why not strength? You're intimidating them. Can you shut off my ceiling fan right now? Yeah, like, It just seems poor.
Plus the fact that you have to use your action to do this, and then it only lasts until the end of your next turn, and you have to use your action again to extend the duration. Like, frightened isn't that big of a deal.
No,
it's not that huge of a status effect. So
and
wasting your attacks to do this.
Yeah, and it's a single target. It's not even an area of effect. It's one guy you have to call out. That's bad.
Yeah, I don't foresee a player really ever using this outside of like a role-playing situation. Not in a combat.
In which case, if it was a role-playing situation, I wouldn't say they have to have an ability to do it.
Yeah, you just be scary. That's what
it's easy.
You are.
So, like, you have proficiency in intimidation.
Yeah. Plus, the fact that this is your charisma modifier as a barbarian, like, you probably don't have good charisma.
Probably not.
So it's likely that it's 8 plus your proficiency bonus minus your charisma modifier.
Yeah, honestly, It's very like at max level. It's very likely that this is a 14 at level 20 to save against. Yeah. It's just. It seems bad. So, like I said, Path of the Berserker just seems bad. I don't know why anyone would ever pick this. Like, Mindless Rage is good. Everything else is bad.
Hang on. Let's see what's on the next page.
Maybe I forgot. Retaliation. Oops. I'm on the wrong page here. So, yeah, when you take damage from a creature within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the creature. So you could also expend your reaction to do a single weapon attack at level 14.
Got it.
Or, if you chose to, at level 12, take in Sentinel and just do that, but with upside.
Yeah. Not great.
It doesn't,
I have to say,
give you an extra reaction or anything. It doesn't. You just get to make an attack when something damages you. And also, you have to have taken damage. Something can't miss with an attack. It's not when it makes an attack at you. It's when you take damage from a creature within 5 feet of you. And it's specifically within 5 feet of you. So if you're using a polearm or a reach weapon, doesn't matter. It has to be within 5 feet. Path of the Berserker is bad. So, it will not be hard making a homebrew better than that. Now let's get on to probably the best or second best. Now we've done the worst. Path of the Totem Warrior. You're all about, seeking... You're a druid, but you're not good at magic. You're that kid that, like, pretends to be animals, but you can't do the magic to make yourself a man. Like, you hang out with druids and they like turn into a bear and you're like, I could be a bear too, watch. You just kind of get down on all fours and yeah, that's kind of what you are.
You're so like weird that the druids think you're weird.
You were in remedial druid classes and even then you weren't doing great. So you're like, you know what? Champ, go get him.
You go get him, tiger. Or, not tiger. Bear, eagle, or wolf.
I think Tiger's in one of the other ones. I'd have to get a different book out. But yeah. Why is this one great? Well, at 3rd level, they can cast Beast Sense and Speak with Animals, but only as rituals. Personally, if I were to homebrew this, I would say they'd be able to cast it a number of times equal to their Wisdom modifier and not make it as a ritual. Just because Speak with Animals is way more fun when it's done off the cuff and way less fun. We're like, I have this squirrel, I'm going to hold it for 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's just a kind of a momentum killer.
Yeah, like adding a 10-minute cast time to that doesn't add anything to your game. So I would just limit it by cast per day so they're not talking to every goddamn animal in the forest. But, that's a change I would make. But it's a nice, flavorful thing. And being able to speak with animals, if you don't have a druid in your party, can be incredibly useful. So giving some, magic-like ability... and it's better than the Furbolg's ability because Speak with Animals lets the animals speak back to you. You can speak at animals all you want. Speak with animals is very different than speak at animals.
Yep. Everybody casts Speak at animals.
Yeah.
Do it every day.
Speak at animals constantly. There's an animal over there that's eyeing me because I'm mad at him. Speak at him all day. So then at level 3 they get to pick. They also get to pick their totem spirit. There are more of these in other books. We're just going to hit these because it contains the best one, so why not? And you don't have to pick the same animal for every totem. You could be totem of the bear and totem of the eagle and totem of the wolf if you want, which honestly isn't a bad thing to do. So when you pick a totem, you get a bonus ability while you're raging. And the first one is just the best one in the game. Bear, while raging, you have resistance to all damage except psychic damage. Okay, you double your health points.
Pretty good.
You double your HP. See that big ass number right there? The biggest one in the game? It's now 2 of those. Unless they're dealing psychic damage. So unless you're fighting like mind flayers. In which case, as a barbarian, you're already kind of screwed.
Yeah. Or your party is, at least.
Yeah. It's just... Yes. See, at level 3, I get twice the health points. or an extra attack that fatigues me. I can take one extra attack now, or I can take an entire health bar worth of extra attacks because I can't die.
Oof. Hard to say.
Right? Another one, not as good, but still like decent. While raging and not wearing heavy armor, of course. Which I don't really think you can benefit from rage while wearing heavy armor, so that's redundant, but... creatures have disadvantage on attacks of opportunity against you, and you can use your dash action as a bonus action. That's not bad if you want to do it. If dexterity Barbarian was a thing, Eagle would be great for that. Lots of
Barbarian
movement.
rogue, basically.
Yeah. Which honestly, not bad, because you can still benefit. No, it is bad because you need to use a finesse weapon to get sneak attack, huh? And you don't benefit from strength. Damn. Yeah, they don't overlap.
Yeah.
Too bad. And then Wolf, when you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against creatures within 5 feet of you that is hostile to you. That is either absolutely incredible because it gives pack tactics to all your friends, or completely useless if you use the flanking rule because everyone can do that anyway.
Right.
So, that
depending
kind of
on the size of your party, like our party, because it's so huge, could be really good.
Yeah, just giving all of your allies advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you. Just waddle your ass in there, and then everyone within 5 feet of you is getting advantage on their attacks. Or I could make one extra attack and become fatigued and have disadvantage on my attacks.
Still don't know, man. Still don't know. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah,
we'll have to wait until see what we get later levels, maybe, and that'll tip the scales.
So level 6, you get to pick another totem. These ones aren't as good, but they're more flavor than they are like use. You can increase your carrying capacity by double, and you have advantage on strength checks to push, pull, lift, or break objects. If you're raging, you have advantage on the checks anyway, so I don't understand why that's included, because you just have advantage on strength checks while raging. Oh, I guess this would be when you're not raging then, huh? Because, yeah, you wouldn't have to be raging to have double your capacity load, because you wouldn't rage carry stuff around.
I do.
Yeah.
Every time somebody's ever asked me to help them move, I have been rage carrying stuff around.
That makes sense, and I only do it in 1 minute bursts, and I'm very angry.
God damn it, Timmy. Every time.
Every time. But yeah, doubling your lift capacity is probably not game changing, but it's kind of cool for your guy to be able to carry around as much as a horse. And if you're a Goliath, you already have double your lift capacity. So you could just carry around, a small caravan. Quadruple your lifting capacity. Eagle, you gain the eyesight of an eagle. You can see up to 1 mile away with no difficulty and are able to discern even fine details looking at something more than 100 feet away. Dim light doesn't pose disadvantage on perception checks. That's pretty good. I mean,
neat.
Assuming your barbarian can reading stuff from 100 feet away is, a good way to spy on people. Once again, that's kind of a rogue barbarian thing. But, that kind of vision is really good. I don't think it's probably better than breaking fear and charm by raging. But on the same note, I would have to think about that. It's not just a call I can make. That's and then
combat-wise, the breaking fear charm is better.
But
this is
seeing farther away is oftentimes more useful.
Yeah.
If you can see a succubus coming a mile away, you cannot get charmed by it.
Swiggity swooty. Get away from that booty.
Exactly. And then wolf, you gain the hunting sensibilities of a wolf. You can track other creatures while traveling at a fast pace. You can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace. I think rangers get something very similar to that. So you just, if you're doing a campaign where you're doing lots of large scale travel, that's good to use. or a lot of tracking. You know, that kind of depends on your campaign, but both bear and eagle on there aren't like game breaking, but they're pretty neat things to have. At level 10, you can commune with nature, but only as a ritual. Okay, I mean, if you're communing with nature, you're probably doing it as a ritual. Is probably not that, you know, different. Commune with nature is not like a crazy spell, but it's fine. I'm trying to think what was the. I mean, it's better than intimidating presence because you can actually use it for something.
Yeah.
It actually does a thing when you try to do it. So, you know, commune with nature is nice. It is a good way for the DM to guide the party, and having someone that can actively do it is helpful. And then your final totemic attunement you gain are, I think, all pretty good. When you rage, any creature within 5 feet of you that's hostile has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you. Or another character with his feet. An enemy's immune if they can't see or hear you or is frightened. This is one of the only tank abilities in the game, is to make it harder to hit your allies while hitting you.
Yeah.
That's
I like that.
what you want when you're building a big beefy bear boy.
Yeah. I'm resistant to all damage except for psychic.
Yeah.
I have a fuck ton of hit points. And you have disadvantage to hit anyone but me, so, you know.
Yep.
Maybe hit me.
And I reckless attack, so you have advantage to hit me. There's no reason. There's no reason to swing anyone else. Eagle, you gain a fly speed equal to your current walking speed. It only works in short bursts, and you fall at the end of your turn. But if something's flying, you can fly up to it, whack it, and then fly down. Or not even fly down, just fall. Fuck it. You take half fall damage. Fall damage is a type of damage. It's not psychic. Fly, at this point, what, like 80 feet straight up, take a swing at the dragon, and then just give it the double birds as you fall to the earth.
That's truly how the Hulk gets around.
Yeah. What's 8d6 damage halved, you know, here at that level? Screw it. And Wolf, while raging, you can use a bonus action on your turn to knock a larger, smaller creature prone when you hit it with a melee attack. Let me read that again.
No save.
You can choose to knock it prone. Not make a save. No. You are now laying down. I have chosen it. I've hit you with an attack. You now lay down.
I have chosen to use my bonus action. You are prone now. Deal with it.
I am then going to continue taking my bonus attack on you as you are prone. That's really good. All those are really good.
All those are good. All those are good.
There's not a bad one in the bunch.
All those are better than...
Then one extra attack when somebody hits you. Like...
Yeah.
All those are really good. Also, I think you can change your totem when you level up. You don't have to pick the same totem for any of these. And did it say... oh, maybe you can't. Maybe this isn't what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of another one of the subclasses. But that's really good. You want to be a totem barbarian. Let's take a look over what Xanathars has to say. There we go. First of all, it says that your barbarian has to be racist, which is kind of a weird thing, but okay.
Yeah.
Or to say that, it's sort of under superstitions. I'm going to skip past all the lore stuff because we're getting to the nitty-gritty. Superstitions, just don't disturb the bones of the dead. Okay, that's fine. Never trust a wizard. They're all devils in disguise, especially friendly ones. Not necessarily a racism, but classism for sure. Dwarves have lost their spirits and they're like undead. That's why they live underground. Racist. Magical things bring trouble. Never sleep with magical things within 10 feet of you. There are some races that are just innately magical. I'm going to count that as racism. When you walk through a graveyard where silver or a ghost might jump into your body, not all ghosts want to jump you. Is that racism? I don't know. I'm counting it racist. If the elf looks at your eyes, he's trying to read your thoughts. Racist. Choose what flavor of racism you want for your barbarian.
It's not racism. It's superstition.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy.
What flavor of superstition do you...
Dwarves live underground because they're undead. I like that one.
My neighbors have a big superstition flag hanging in their garage that is
Yeah, it's super crazy.
uncomfortable to see. Right next to the sombrero they have hanging in their window, which sends mixed messages. Yeah. So let's take a look at my favorite barbarian path, the path of Ancestral Guardian. What's that? You get a stand that is your grandpa. You just get ghosts of your old dead ancestors. You know Mulan, when they have all the ancestors? What if instead of judging you, they were kicking ass alongside you?
They were like, "Hey, bro, ready to throw down?
Yeah,
bar brawl tonight?
What if they were dope as hell?
Great grandson."
I do want to point out there
Brawl?
is an inconsistency, an actual typo here, where if you look, it says their spirit shield does 3d8 or 4d8 shielding. If you look under spirit shield where it lists it here, it's d6s instead of d8s. And I don't know which one is true, but I'm going to give them d8s because I like this one the most.
Hey, it's what it said. D8's first, so
Yeah.
that's what you got to go with, I think.
But yeah, they just like you revere your dead ancestors, and in return, they do cool shit for you. You get a big buff grandpa orc standing behind you. All right. So what do we got? I got to pull out my Xanthars. Just a second.
I really like this one because that schoolyard fight that kids get into. It's like, my dad could beat up your dad. It's like this kid's like, my dad could beat up your dad. And they're like, haha, your dad's dead. And it's like, that doesn't matter.
I said what I said.
Get him, Dad.
Your dad's a dwarf, so basically dead.
Basically dead. You live underground.
Whoa, you can't say
spiritless
that.
bitch.
You can't go saying that to people.
Whoa, dude.
That's why they get into so many fights. That's why the granddad has to step up for him so often, because he can't go around saying shit like
My
that.
grandpa told me all of this, so
Yeah.
I learned it all from him.
Yeah, I was reading through the superstitions, and the fact that 5 out of 6 of them are just outright racism is...
It's pretty great. Elves, don't look me in the eye.
Yeah.
Dwarves, no spirits. Dwarves are the gingers of the...
Oh yeah, dwarf barbarian with the explicit belief that his entire race is undead. you can do that.
I don't have to eat, breathe, or sleep.
I'm so
They
tired.
believe it with such conviction. They're just like walking zombies because they're,
Alright, so what do we got going on here? Well, at 3rd level you get your ancestral ghost. So when you enter a rage, you get spooky ancestral ghosties hanging out around you. And when the first creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes the target for the ghost, and they hinder its attacks. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack rolls that aren't against you. That creature has resistance to the damage dealt other than you. The creature has resistance to damage dealt by the attack. Wait, what? I'm sorry, I misread that, I think. Until the start of your next turn, that target has disadvantage on any attack roll that isn't against you. And when the target hits a creature other than you, that creature has resistance to damage against the attack. I missed a line.
damn.
Yeah. So remember that thing we said was super cool about the Totem Barbarian? They get it at level 3. And it's better because if that person decides not to attack them, they're actively shielding the ally that they make the attack against.
Pretty cool.
That's really good, and you just get that at level 3. So this is my favorite because this has something D&D doesn't really have, which is assigned roles and specifically tanking. The ability to mitigate damage to your party. Not heal damage to your party, not shield damage, but actively mitigate outcoming damage.
Yeah.
That's really good.
For a while.
At level 6, you can have the spirits defend your allies. When a creature within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by 2d6 or d8 if you're following the guide on the front. And just as a reaction every turn you can do that. And it increases as you level up. So instead of using your reaction to make a weapon attack against something that hits you, you can use your reaction to reduce damage to a party member. That's really good, especially if they're already resistant to that damage anyway. You could reduce a lot of damage down to 0 damage. to protect your squishies. Because a lot of times it's like, okay, well, I'm going to put the tanks up front and the wizard in the back. Okay, I walk past the tank and stab the wizard because there's literally nothing you can do to stop me. This does that. This helps. Then you can consult the spirits, where essentially you get the clairvoyance spell or the augury spell that you can cast, which is, pretty good. Honestly, better than commune with nature, because clairvoyance gives you actual cryptic information, just like raw information about something. The cool thing is, also, if someone casts see invisibility, or they can see into the ethereal plane, instead of seeing a floating spectral sensor, they just see your granddad. they see old Pa staring at them.
Hey.
Howdy. That's pretty cool. But like some of the other barbarian stuff, the totem barbarian stuff, it just gives them the ability to cast a spell that they couldn't normally do. That's cool. And then at level 14, your ancestral spirits grow so powerful that when you spirit shield someone and reduce the damage of the attack, they deal whatever damage was reduced back to whoever was hitting them. So not only do you get to level 14, not only are you shielding every turn a target for 4d6 damage, you're then dealing that damage back to a target. That's really good.
Pretty good.
So I really like Ancestral Guardians. They're not quite as tanky themselves because they don't get to have all the incoming damage. But being able to spread out that mitigation among other people, if people don't want to just hit your Barbarian, this gives your Barbarian something else to do that is not, useless. If a bear totem barbarian charges at somebody and they hack away and I'm like, okay, this is getting me nowhere. I'm going to disengage, run over, and stab a squishy guy. This is a way to, deal with that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good.
So I like it a lot. Path of the Storm Herald's kind of neat because there are 3 different flavors of it. Unfortunately, none of them are, really good. But this is kind of like you're in touch with the nature of a specific area you're from. At 3rd level, you get an aura you exude with 10 feet around you when you rage. And you can choose desert, sea, or tundra for your kind of element. And I think... Is this the one you change? You can... you can change your environment choice when you gain a level in your class. But if you choose desert, your storm soul, your storm aura, and your raging storm will all be desert. You can't, unlike totem, you can't pick different ones. So desert, all creatures in your aura, which is 10-foot radius, if you take 2 fire damage each turn, and that increases as you go up. 1 that affects allies, so it's the opposite of tanking for your friends. And 2 damage is negligible in most cases. I don't know. Not enough damage for it. C, when activated, so you get to choose to activate it, you can choose a creature in your aura. The target has to make a dex save or take 1d6 lightning damage or half as much on a successful save. And the damage increases. So you get to pick 1 target instead of everyone, and they get a save for half damage. Most of the time, I would say that's better than just raw dealing a couple damage to friend or foe. Then Tundra, you can give temporary hit points to your allies. 2 temporary hit points.
It's not very many.
Well, if you have 2 Storm Aura Barbarians and you have a Desert and a Tundra, you can keep getting the temporary hit points that you're knocking off with. Yeah, no, it's not very good. It's not as good as being able to pull aggro, like the Ancestral, or take half damage from everything, like the Totem. At level 6, you get some more abilities based on your soul. Deserts get resistant to fire damage, and they don't suffer from extreme heat, and they can touch a flammable object to set it on fire. It's like a light a torch with their bare hands. Whoop-de-doo. C, gain resistance to lightning. They can breathe underwater and gain a swimming speed. That's not bad. Tundra, resistant to cold damage, and they can turn a 5-foot cube of water to ice, which melts after a minute. situationally useful. Then level 10, you can give each creature of your choice in your aura the same resistance you got from your Soulstorm, so either fire, lightning, or cold resistance to your allies. Situationally good. Not as good probably as just reducing the damage they take every turn, but you know, it's something. And then your final big power, Desert. Immediately after a creature in your aura hits you with an attack, you can use your action to force them to make a dex save. On a fail, they take fire damage equal to half your Barbarian level. That is worse than just getting a retaliatory attack. Because at least the maximum damage this is going to do is 10 damage. A retaliatory attack, yeah, that was a lot of sounds, is going to deal more than 10 damage on average. You know. So that sucks. When a creature hits you with an attack, you can use your action to make a strength save. On a fail, they're knocked prone. That can be good. You know, knocking someone prone is at least something, and you're doing it on their turn, so if they've used their movement already, they're prone for a full round. You know. Or Tundra, you can choose a creature that has to in your aura has to succeed a strength save, or its speed is reduced to 0. That's fine. I mean, it's within 10 feet of you already, so I don't know what reducing its speed to 0 is really going to do for you, but not as good as reflecting damage onto people. You know. Yeah. So that's the ones from Xanathar's. There are a couple from Tasha's, and I don't have Tasha's PDF. So I'm just going to go over those super quickly for those of you playing along at home. That will be...
Is it Battle Rager? No, that's something else.
No, it's... Did we go over Raging Storm? Oh, did I not go over Raging Storm? Hold on. No, I think I did. Oops. Oh, I didn't go over Path of the Zealot. Oops, missed that. Yeah, I went over the Raging Storm. Path of the Zealot. Sorry, I missed Path of the Zealot. That is another good one. Sorry, my bad. Let me go back to that. My bad, guys. I've been out of the game too long. Also, the pages of my book were kind of stuck together. I'm going to blame it on that. So these are just guys that really think deities are just the bee's knees, and they get some cool abilities based on it. At 3rd level, they can channel their divinity into their weapon. The first creature you hit each turn with a weapon attack takes an additional 1d6 plus half your Barbarian level damage. Necrotic or Radiant. That seems better than a attack as a bonus action that costs you a fatigue level. That seems just better than the Berserker. You just deal an additional d6 plus half your Barbarian level a turn. Also, if a spell such as Raise Dead or, True... Well, probably not True Resurrection, but I guess True Resurrection. Or any spell that would bring you back from the dead, sole effect is to restore you to life, you don't need material components for it. They can just cast the spell. You so want to not be dead that you're like, no, don't worry. Whatever god I worship has me covered. They're good for it. You don't have to pay them off in diamonds. So that's nice. It's a cost-efficient kamikaze, I guess. Fanatical Focus. If you fail a save while you're raging, you can re-roll it and have to use the new roll, and only once per rage. That's not incredible, but I mean, it's a free reroll.
That's what, Indomitable for fighters, right?
Yeah. So, it's similar to that. It's, like I said, not incredible, but it's not nothing. It's better than a lot of the other things we've talked about. 10th level, you can inspire zealotry in others. As a bonus action, you unleash a battle cry. Up to 10 other creatures you can within 60 feet of you of your choice Gain advantage on attack rolls and saves until the start of your next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. I mean, you could just inspire all of your allies to have advantage on attacks and saves for a turn. Or, I mean, you could try to scare a guy, I guess, with an intimidation check that you're going to not. This is just better than Berserker Barbarian. Just raw better. Especially when you get to level 14. Rage Beyond Death. At 14, when you would die, when you're at 0 hit points, which, remember, Barbarians all have the return at 1 HP thing, so you have to have already used that and then gone back to 0 and then failed that roll and stayed at 0, and then you keep fighting. You still have to make death saves. You still suffer normal effects of taking damage while at 0 hit points, which are, failing death saves. But you just keep going until if you would die to failing death saves, you don't die until your rage ends. And you die only if you still have 0 hit points. So, for 1 minute, I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me because nothing you do short of making me unconscious is going to stop me from hitting you.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you getting hit just makes you fail
a death save. Yep.
So, so you're just immortal.
Yeah.
Well, you're not immortal. You're just the Walking Dead for a minute.
Yeah,
or,
here's the best thing about that. There aren't negative health point values in 5th edition, meaning unless they deal half your health damage with one attack, you're going to stay alive. And your healer just has to level 1 healing word you and give you back 2 HP before your rage ends, and then you're fine.
Well, they'd have to heal you before you get to 3 fails, right? Because then you're just dead, right?
You only die if you still have 0 hit points.
Until your rage ends, and you die then only.
Only if you, yeah.
Yeah. So assuming the fight ends and you're still raging, just be like, "Hey guys, I'm actually a dead person right now. Could you just
ouch, my bones.
Slap a little bandage on me, please?
My bones is on the outside. Oof, ouch."
That's insane.
Also,
that's pretty fucking good. I mean, it's really cool, more than it is good, because I'm guessing that doesn't come up a lot. But when it does come up,
if you have to be over 0, there is no negative health value in 5th edition. If you'd be reduced below 0 health, you stay at 0 health.
Yeah, that's a 5e rule change,
which
makes this incredibly good.
Yeah. And when you have unlimited rages a day, you can just choose I will never die.
Yeah.
Also, you can still use all your actions. So, like, if you're at 0 health and your rage is about to end, use your action to take a potion, and you're like, okay, I'm fine.
I'm fine, guys. Don't worry.
Just rub some Neosporin on it.
Shouldn't you be dead?
Like, what? Nah.
I was too mad.
I got better. I was real mad.
I was so mad that I just shrugged off. Oh, this? That's
no, I'm reading here. While raging, having 0 hit points doesn't knock you unconscious. Okay, so the effects that would immediately kill you will still kill you. Power word kill will still kill you.
Yeah.
Because that kills you, it doesn't reduce you to 0 hit points.
Yeah. Because you only don't die due to failing death saving throws.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, anything that, would do other stuff to you still does. But yeah, when you take damage at 0 hit points, you just fail death saving throws, I believe. So yeah, it's... Whew.
I just don't, though. What if nah?
Nutty.
What if nah?
And that's it for... Yeah, this is one of those things where it will come up one time in your entire campaign, but everyone will remember it, and it will be amazing.
Yeah, this is a set piece ability that is so good. Also, this ability alone justifies you playing a barbarian like a goddamn barbarian.
Seriously.
You throw yourself into the meat grinder because you got plenty of meat to grind.
Yeah, I was gonna say the one, the ancestral spirit, whatever thing.
Oh.
I was gonna say that was my favorite. I don't know. I think this one might make this my favorite. Not necessarily the best, but my favorite.
Yeah. It just not
This only has to happen one time.
The
ever.
absolute refusal to die is, and there, of course there
Pretty
are ways
amazing.
to kill him. If you're the DM, yeah, you can kill him whatever way you want, like whatever. That's not a
But-
challenge.
yeah.
But what if the cool thing happened, and they just started soloing this dragon that has been
Yeah.
whooping their ass?
And then the dragon is like, oh, what the fuck is happening
Like,
right now?
please stop.
Yeah. That's that's what I would love about it is, like, you know, let's say the dragon has knocked everyone else out and it's just this fucking barbarian that it's like, I just dealt like 150 damage to you in a turn. Why are you still here? Why are you still hitting me? Now the dragon has to succeed on a frightful presence, and it's trying to fly away like, oh god, what is this?
it's that Randy Marsh, I didn't hear no bell. It's like, you were
Yeah.
clearly the worse off here, but
Yeah. You should be dead. You don't. I've disemboweled you. What are you doing?
the bowels were only slowing me down.
Yeah, I'm lighter now. I'm more agile. Thank you.
Yeah, so like, definitely a real good set. Like, this is a level 20 ability.
Yeah. Rage Beyond Death is the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe in the whole book.
It's very, very good. I can't believe I almost missed Zealot, because we needed to talk about
Jeez,
that.
we needed that.
That is very, very good.
God damn.
I don't think the ones in
Fucking
Tasha
dope.
agree with me. Alright, alright, so let's hit Tasha's real quick. One form of the beast, it's essentially like you get almost lycanthropic power. You get a partial transformation into a beast when you rage. You can either choose to gain a bite or a claw attack. Either your mouth transforms into a bestial muzzle or great mandibles, which I think is dope because you can get predator mouth as an ability. Or you can, get claws. The cool thing about those is they give you extra abilities. Like if you make an attack with your bite, you regain hit points if you're below half your health. That's pretty cool. It also stops it from being overpowered by only making it work when you're below half health. And then claws, when you do it, you can make an additional attack if you hit with it. Oh, also tail, which is good. Tail's good regardless, because if you're using a weapon, you don't want to use bite or claws. But tail's ability lets you roll a d8 and apply it to your armor class when something within 10 feet of you makes an attack. That's good, because parry is... Well, depending on the parry, it's like roll your superiority dice, where you just get like a d8 to roll. That's pretty good. Give me like 2 seconds. I will be back in just a moment. Sorry about this.
No problem. Where did he stop off? Bestial Soul? Is that what we were talking about? Next thing.
Yeah, I'm talking about Bestial Soul. Sorry guys, I had to blow my nose and I didn't think you wanted the audio or visual component of that, so you're welcome.
Buddy?
Then you can get another your attacks count as magical at level 6, and you get another ability, either a swim speed and the ability to breathe underwater, climb speed, or adding your strength modifier to when you jump, or adding your athletics when you jump. Which, whatever, you still can't jump farther than your move speed, so that's probably not great. But always spider climb or, underwater breathing is useful, I guess. Not the worst. Infectious Fury, when you hit a creature with your natural weapon while raging, has to succeed a wisdom save, or suffer one of the 2 effects of your choice. It has to immediately make a melee attack against another creature it can see, or take 2d12 psychic damage. That's pretty good.
Pretty neat.
There is a save on it, so it's not, impossible. The real limiting factor is you can only use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So you can't do it constantly, but adding 2d12 to an attack is better than your brutal critical in most cases, because you could just choose to do it. And then at level 14, you can call the hunt to offer some of your bestial rage to your allies. Any number of willing creatures you can see within 30 feet. Oh no. Number of creatures equal to your constitution modifier within 30 feet gain 5 temporary HP. Or wait, no, I should read this before.
5 temporary hit points for each creature that accepts.
Yeah, you gain 5 temporary hit points for each creature that accepts it. And until your rage ends, those creatures gain an extra d6 damage when they hit with an attack. So a creature in an attack roll and deals damage to it. They can roll a d6 and gain... Yeah, so they just get a d6 of damage on their attacks. Okay, I mean, that's not bad. Depending on the size of your party, that can be, real good. If you have 5 people, if you're getting the full benefit of it. I guess if you have 6 people, because you don't affect yourself. And it gives you some temp HP. That's not the worst. It's no rage beyond death, but it's a thing you can do.
Yeah. I think it's no rage beyond death is going to be the new go-to thing here.
And then wild magic barbarians are just barbarians that are people of... Remember how the primal barbarians were just druids that weren't very good at being druids? Well, these are just sorcerers that cast sword a lot. They just have some innate magical ability, so when they rage, they get a wild magic effect. This is not the Sorcerer's Wild Magic table. This is a special table with 8 things on it that are all beneficial. 1, each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you has to make a con save or take 1d12 necrotic damage. You gain 1d12 temp HP. You can teleport to 30 feet within an unoccupied space you can see until your rage ends. You can use it as a bonus. You can do that again as a bonus action. An intangible spirit that looks like a flump or a pixie appears within 5 feet of you, or 5 feet of a creature of your choice within 30 feet of you. At the end of the current turn, the spirit explodes, dealing for a dex save and dealing 1d6 force damage, and then you can summon one again as a bonus action on your turn. So you can deal essentially 1d6 to 1d3 damage to creatures a turn. Your weapon becomes magical and gets a light and thrown property, and at the end of your turn it comes back to your hand, so you get like a Thor's hammer kind of thing. When a creature hits you with an attack roll before your rage ends, that creature takes 1d6 force damage as magic attacks at retribution. That doesn't require your reaction. So anytime a creature hits you with an attack, they just take 1d6 damage back. That's pretty good.
Okay, just like thorns. Pretty cool.
Until your rage ends, you're surrounded by multicolored protective lights, and you have a +1 bonus to AC. And while within 10 feet of you, your allies gain the same bonus.
Alright.
+1 bonus to AC is not great, but hey, it's
not nothing.
It's not nothing. Flowers and vines grow around you, making the ground around within 15 feet of you difficult terrain, but only for your enemies. And then a bolt of lightning shoots from your chest at a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. It has to succeed a con save or take 1d6 radiant damage and become blinded until the start of your next turn. And every turn you can do that as a bonus action. The bad thing about them is they don't scale up as you level up. These are just what the abilities are. So, not bad at level 3, worse as you level up.
Right.
Level 6 is an action. You can touch a creature, which can be yourself, to confer one of the following benefits. For 10 minutes, you can roll a d3 when making an attack roll or ability check, and add that number to the d20 roll. So, slightly worse, bless. Or roll a d3, the creature regains an expended spell slot of up to that number. So you can give someone back up to a 3rd level spell slot, which, depending on the level, could be really good. A 20th level wizard probably doesn't need 1 additional fireball a day, but a 5th level wizard sure as hell would like it. So, And a creature can't receive that benefit again until it receives a long rest. So you can't give a bunch of spell slots to one guy. At level 10, when you're in peril during your rage, the magic can lash out immediately after you take damage or fail a saving throw. You can use your reaction to roll on the wild magic table and produce an additional effect that replaces the current effect. So if your effect is bad at level 10, you can at least change it. You know, if you have the +1 AC and you're facing something that's dealing a lot of area of effect damage, that's not bad. You still can't control what it is. Level 14, whenever you roll on the table, you roll twice and choose which effect to unleash. If you roll doubles, you can choose which one. I really wish that was you could just have 2 effects active.
Yeah, because that's pretty underwhelming.
Yeah,
especially compared to.
It doesn't scale up the higher levels. It's really neat lower levels, and it's fun, but as you level up, it just doesn't scale with you. So honestly, your 3 picks here for best are Path of the Totem, if you want to become unkillable. Well, if you want to become literally unkillable, you get Path of the Zealot. But if you want to become the tankiest, spankiest boy there ever was, you choose Path of the Totem. You want to help out your buddies and be like an actual tank, you choose Ancestral Guardian. And if you just want to be angry forever and not die forever, you choose Path of the Zealot.
Yeah, I think the Rage Beyond Death makes Zealot definitely the coolest choice for me. I think the Ancestral one is really cool all the way through. It's always got useful, interesting stuff, especially if your goal is to be your party's tank.
Mm-hmm.
But then, if you just want to take very little damage,
I like Ancestral Guardian because you get to be the dad of the group while you're protected by your dad and his dad and his dad. You got real daddy theme going on.
Yep. Call me Uncle Kevin.
So but there are also some real stinkers, which are basically everyone we didn't list.
Yeah.
Berserker is just worse Zealot in every single way. I don't see a single reason to choose Path of the Storm Herald. If you want to do extra damage, you want to choose Zealot. If you want to be tankier, you want to choose... Or if you want to apply... Instead of applying a little temp HP to all your allies, you just want to block damage from them. You want to choose your Ancestral... You could choose them for flavor, but mechanically they are way weaker. So where does that...
flavor is better for the Ancestral Guardians one anyway.
It's very solid flavor. The primal really one, good. If you were lycanthropic or a tabaxi or some sort of beast folk, a lizardman, that makes a lot of sense. The wild magic one is zany and weird and fun. It just doesn't scale worth a damn. And Berserker's just bad. Are we missing any that are also just bad? No, I mean, basically what we're looking at here. I think that's all the official ones. There are some additional totems for Path of the Totem in a couple of the other books, but none are as good as just taking half damage. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So our goal for our next week is to make our own subclasses to fit in. We don't want them to be overpowered, but we don't want them to be... Well, it's hard to underpower them compared to the printed material. But our goals are, we want them to be flavorful, we want them to be fun, and we want them to be functional. That's kind of what we're shooting for here. And I think that's doable. A lot of these have really good flavor and not much function or fun. I would say Zealot fits all 3 of those pretty well. I would say
I
Ancestral
think
Guardian
Ancestral Guardians does well
fits
too.
in pretty well, and I would say Totem fits in very well. So I'd say like those are our like shining stars we want to kind of shoot for. That being said, we don't want to make anything overpowered, like say Never Die Forever Ever, Never Die Another Day. The Maddest Boy. So we want to shoot for a power level between like actively detrimenting yourself for one extra potential attack that's not even guaranteed to hit, and not dying forever, nevermore. We want to shoot for something between those two levels.
Strike a balance.
Yeah. So that's going to be our goal for next Home Brewhaha next week. So what we're going to do is we're not going to discuss our homebrews with each other. We might discuss flavor, just that way we don't both do two spins on the same thing. And also, we're not directly competing with each other. This is a collaborative storytelling effort, not my class could beat up your class kind of thing.
My class gets 400 extra hit points every level.
My class just doesn't die, so mad.
My class one hits everything it touches.
You know, it's not a competitive game. It's a cooperative storytelling and gameplay experience. So what we just want to shoot for is demonstrating how you could do this at home and kind of the steps you would take to make your own subclass if you find, like you should, a lot of these lackluster. A couple things I want to bring up. Something I want from a Barbarian that it doesn't have here a lot of is the ability to inspire your allies and affect your friends in certain ways. Kind of like in previous games they had like a Scald, which was a Barbarian Bard combo kind of thing that led, you know, your friends with so that's something this book doesn't have that I think would be interesting and a path I might kind of look down. But there's also I did make a homebrew a while back that was about the Barbarian literally becoming possessed while they were raging, and, you know, putting a different take on that. So there's some different takes you could do on it for sure, and there's a lot of things we can look at here. But long story short, we're coming back next week for the grand reveal of our two Barbarian subclasses, and I might actually invite somebody else on too to discuss them, to look at a third party that can look objectively at the things we're putting out as well. I might see if John wants to do it. John plays Barbarian a bunch, and have him talk about it with us. Alright, but that's going to cover us for this week's Home Brewhaha. We ran longer than we normally do, and I apologize for that. Or I don't, depending on whether you liked it or not. I will try to get better quality PDFs to make the stream a little more watchable, and I will try to get Atosha's. If I have to sit down and scan my whole damn Tasha's, I might at least scan some of the pages that we need. You know, if only I had access to some place with like $250,000 pieces of scanning and printing equipment that could really do a high-res good job at this.
If only, right? Oh, well.
If only.
Can't think of anything.
Yes. So yeah, I might take these to work and scan them on our like really high-quality scanners and get some stuff to increase the quality of the stream for you people. Or the YouTube video, which this will also be. I guess if you're watching this on YouTube, check us out typically Wednesdays. I think we're going to shoot, so you have a chance to do your thing, shoot for 6:30 on Wednesdays. Just because this takes a little more prep time than other streams. And also I know my other host over here likes to make dinner. He doesn't just eat trash food out of the garbage like I do. Coward.
I mean, I do, but I have to prepare it first.
That's true. He has to prepare to put it into the garbage, which...
Yeah. I typically, if Ivy's not home, I just eat standing over the sink like a raccoon.
That's fair. Totally fair. So yeah, we shoot for 6:30 Central Time on Wednesdays. That's what we shoot for. If we're not going to make that shot, you'll know by checking out my Discord. There'll be a link in the Twitch and in the YouTube descriptions, and you'll know how to find us and how to find out what we're doing. I also haven't been streaming much lately due to the fact I've been no-lifing Elden Ring, and that game doesn't run well when I'm trying to stream it. Yeah, also I was like terribly ill for a week, so
That'll do it.
I do plan on getting back into streaming once I finish Elden Ring, and 2, I'm gonna be playing Tiny Tina's Tiny Tina's Wonderland or whatever, the new Borderlands-esque game when it comes out, and I'll be streaming that for sure. Some of that. So if you're interested, check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/solo_crusader. You'll find me there playing the video games. Logan, do you have anything you want to plug before we sign off here?
Total War Warhammer 3 has been a lot of fun. Had a bit of a rocky release. Some people haven't enjoyed the main mechanic, but I really like it. And eventually, the large map Immortal Empires will be coming out, so you should all get in on that. And somebody should play an 8-player multiplayer campaign with me sometime.
All right, so we have the call to action out there. All right, folks, that is going to be it for us this evening, but we will talk to you next week with some Barbarian homebrews. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.